Hello, it's Ms. Edwards, and I'm going to give you the notes and examples for 3.5 divide integers. So first you want to pause this video and write down the quick notes or definition of the dividing integers rule. So you can go ahead and pause that now. Okay, so it says the quotient of two integers with different signs is negative. So if I have a positive dividing by a negative, my answer is negative. Or if I have a negative dividing by a positive, my answer is still negative. So go ahead and write down number 1, and then I'm going to go ahead and answer it. All right, so number 1 says find 80 divided by negative 10. So I have a positive and a negative. That means my answer is going to be negative. So my answer is negative 8. Again, I just divide 80 divided by 10. That's 8. But because I have a positive and a negative, my answer is negative. So negative 8. My next one, number 2, you're going to write that down so you can pause it. All right, so it says find negative 55 divided by 11. So I have a negative divided by a positive. My answer is going to be negative. So it's negative 5. Again, if I have a positive divided by a negative, it's a negative. And if I have a negative divided by a positive, it is a negative. All right, for number 3, you can actually pause the video and copy down the table and the question. All right, so it says for number 3, find the constant rate of change in centimeters per hour. So this is actually going back to when we did rate of change. It was in chapter 1, so it was a while ago. Just to refresh your memory, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out the increase in the height over the increase in time because I'm trying to find centimeters per hour. So on top is going to be my y variable, which is height, and then on the bottom it's going to be time, which is hours. All right, so first I'm actually just going to write what that's going to be, and this actually gives you a hint. Like I just said, it's going to be centimeters over hours, which is my change in y over change in x. So my change in y is actually 8 minus 10. And my change in x, sorry, that's my change in y. My change in x is 2 minus 1. Oops. Should be 2 minus 1. All right. So again, what I'm doing is I'm looking at how much did it increase. From 1 to 2, I increased by 1. I increased by 1. So that's why on the bottom, I'm subtracting 2 minus 1, and I'm getting 1. But on the top, to get from 10 to 8, I'm actually subtracting 2. So on the top, I get negative 2. Again, my change in y is always going to be my second y minus my first y. So that's why I put 8 minus 10 right here. Because again, I looked at what my second data point is, and I see did it increase. In this case, I'm actually decreasing. I'm going down 2. So that's why I wrote negative 2. For the time, I'm saying how much am I increasing from the first x to the second x, and that is increasing by 1. Remember, rate of change is I'm dividing, so I'm dividing negative 2 divided by 1. That just gives me negative 2. So my rate of change in centimeters per hour is actually negative 2 centimeters per hour. I just wrote negative 2. That's my number. That's my answer. But I also need to have my units in there. So I just also wrote negative 2 centimeters per hour. So sorry, this is actually the final answer. not this one. It's just so you're not confused. So again, how I find constant rate of change is you find the change of y over your change of x. That means you take your second y, subtract your first y, and take your second x and subtract your first x. 8 minus 10 is -2. 2 minus 1 is 1. When I divide those numbers, I get -2. And my final answer is -2 centimeters per hour because that's what they were asking me to find. All right, go ahead and do the try it and let me know if you have any questions.